And as I said that, and I was sitting on the bed, it felt like the reality just opened. This clear knowing came through, and it was only love is the closest word that I could use to describe what that feeling was like. It was so intense.
All right. Eshwar,
Yes, sir.
welcome.
Thank you for having me.
What's happening?
There's been some developments and some changes.
Do tell.
Man, it's been a wild ride these last I would say month or so, with the shift in direct experience, actually, of this infinite bliss and this love that like permeates all aspects of reality itself. And it's like this projection machine that we call our body and our mind gets infused with it, and the reality that's experienced as a result of that is just this love that you just surrender to. And I mean, those words don't even do it justice, man. to say the least. But
What brought this about?
it's been interesting. After all the understanding of no self, and it's almost like there was this non-dual aspect to experience that started to make itself known, but there was still like this observer part that was there, this sense of me. And it just felt a little off, like something more was trying to come through, and the block was this thing that was still, I'm calling a me, that was there. And it's very, very subtle. So one day it was almost the same way, how complete cessation of the mind came about. In that, what led to that was laying on the bed, and I was like, all right, I don't know anything about anything. I don't know what the Buddha's talking about. I don't know any external knowledge. And then went back in memory and all of that. Mind pushed against what it couldn't go what was before it, and then the complete thing just unraveled. So that was within the mind. The first part of this was clearing out the worldview, all the ideas and concept that was the dream to begin with, that which we make that first shift, that first awakening from. So now being left almost bare in reality itself, there seems to be something that's vivid and alive that permeates everything. And I wanted to know what that was. So when I was in Denver a couple months back, I had this huge heart opening with Neem Karoli Baba and Barina and Tom. And since I came back, it was just all heart-based. Everything was just love. And then it kind of went away for a bit. And then the other day I was just sitting on the bed and I was like, you know what? I want to know this directly. Right? So I spoke to reality itself, all of this as it is, and just asked, show me what this is about, but in a way where only you can show me, where this mind can't fabricate anything whatsoever about this. And as I said that, and I was sitting on the bed, it felt like the reality just opened. This clear knowing came through, and it was only love is the closest word that I could use to describe what that feeling was like. It was so intense this thing that was everywhere and permeated every aspect of reality itself. The entire shebang was just this perfection of this clear knowing love. And then it felt as though it tilted its head, and it was like, was this a good enough sign? And then it's just been that way ever since. It's known as just this infinite bliss that just is through and through every aspect of reality. In my experience, that's what's going on right now. So yeah, and then it came through like, all right, let's kind of get this out there. So here we are.
Beautiful. That's something else, man. Amazing. Yeah, I think some people can hear this and interpret it as the love that I've always wanted, I got somehow, or a love that is specific to certain people or situations. Can you talk about that? Can you talk about, is this a certain kind of love? Is this a love that only is in relation to a certain person, certain people, self-love? How does it relate to all of that?
It's all encompassing. It is the very fabric of experienced reality. It is unconditioned, is how it comes across. The mind can conceive of an idea of what this would even look like, and love is the closest word that we have to, or that I have right now, to point to what that feeling would seem to feel like. But it is complete. It's without second. It is just everything. It doesn't belong to any one person, because it is all persons. It permeates every aspect of our being. It is our breath. It feels as my breath. It feels as my body. It feels as everything. And there's no division in it. It's only looking at it from a mind perspective to try to categorize it and pass it on to somebody else that it seems like it's going to be too. And it's kind of like the nature of our experience in non-dual and dualism. It's prior to all of that. It's what's been here always. It's unconditioned, unborn, and ever present, clear knowing.
And is it also conditioned? Like, if conditioning arises, or resistance arises, or resentment, or self-hatred, how does it relate to that?
Those things can come up, and it's almost like immediately in the face of that, they get obliterated. Not that they get destroyed, they're accepted completely. Whatever it is comes up is accepted and then let go of. It's like you're at a house, and you're like, your entire life you've been holding the front door and the back door closed. And if something comes in, like hate or lust or anger, you open the front door, you let it in, but you keep the back door closed, and it stays trapped inside. This thing, in the face of all of that, allows you to open the doors, and it lets all of those things up and out. It's like the breeze on which everything flows. It holds on to nothing, but everything is allowed to flow in it. Nothing is judged in any which way.
Yeah. That's my experience as well. Yeah. It's neither conditioned nor unconditioned, and it accepts both, fully accommodates everything. Yeah.
I get goosebumps talking about it now, man. Like, it flows through everything, and it's recognized everywhere. And that's the thing. Once the space is touched into, it's recognized. Like, we start to consciously recognize it every single where. And then we look at how did we miss it? How did I miss this
Yeah.
before?
Yeah.
There was no place to have gone to have access to this.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you went into the mind, you went too far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's almost like winning
Yeah.
the cosmic lottery. But everything
Dude.
wins it. Everything wins that lottery. This isn't about Eshwar. It's not about Angelo.
Right.
It's literally all pervasive. In a sense, I could almost say that the insight of no self makes it clear that this all pervasive love, as the word we're using, is coming through literally everything all the time, like full on, straight through. Nothing is excluded. Everything is singing with this aliveness.
Yeah. It passes through, I mean, the same way how we see, and then everything that's seeing us. It's almost like the entire reality just turned around when we opened to it. And the anatta no self was important on the conceptual level, to see through and pause the conceptual mind for a minute. And all the silences, the instances that I've had, it touches into this space, but it never fully expressed in that way, because there were subtle holdings. So it almost, not almost, it was only the complete emptying of me, then this just filled up and flowed out. It didn't flow in, it flowed out. And then it permeates everything. All the sense gates, they're blown wide open, and this flows from all of them, because it's recognized through every means that we have of perception within mind, ideas, and concepts, all the physical sensations, and it is right here, right now, readily accessible for every single one.
Mm.
When you wake up and your feet hits the ground, you're in it.
Yeah.
When you're brushing your teeth, it's smiling right back at you in the mirror.
I'm glad you mentioned the sense gates. I might even say the sense gates, when mind is not applied, or delusion or illusion is not applied. So we could say seen on their, seeing how they actually are, seeing what's actually there. There is neither entry nor exit. I can't find a side. I can't find an inside or outside. And actually the lack of that distinction itself is this vibration of love. It is this vibration of aliveness. It's a constant invitation. And all the way back to when I was a suffering separate self, or thought I was, that invitation was there as well. It is just clouded by some thought, but that's the invitation that wakes anyone up. That's the invitation that calls you in all the time, always, until you dissolve into the call, until you dissolve into the love, and then it's just love.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Dude. When it occurred, it was, I mean, again, there was glimpses of it, and mind tries to hold on to the idea and the explanation of it. But when it permeates everything, and it removes all doubt, all barriers, and all distinctions between really anything. And like you said, the inside outside aspect, that subtle division too, that goes, because even that, it permeates. Close your eyes, that could be a point of division, but it's right there too.
Mm-hmm.
It's everything and all things.
So what do you say? What do you say to someone who's listening to this and says, "Man, I really want that. Man, I want that. I don't have it. I want it. I've tasted it, but I feel whatever, terrible. I feel self-defeated, confused, disoriented, lost." What do you say to that person?
Man, I said, that is cool. You're in the right place, because the desire to want to know and experience this is what's required for it to even become a thing, to flower out of your being. And knowing that there are certain things that keeps you from it, particularly people when they're conscious and aware of it, they almost know what they need to do to get out of the way, to allow this thing to just flow through. So if you're noticing that you have the desire to really want to see and find this out. And then you can also consciously see the things that are blocking you. Then you also know the work that needs to be done. The shadow is my best friend, because in the shadow, all the shadow work that I did showed every single aspect of me that was blocking this from just flowing through.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even that it wants to flow through. That's just what it does. All these shadows, all these things that we have within ourselves that we bind ourselves up with, that's what prevents us noticing that flow. Once all those are cleared out, then it's free to do what it's going to do. Because when you turn around to go back at you, the very first thing you're going to face is you. And when you can get you out of the way, this is all that there is. So
That's a good answer, man. I could say, and I like that you linked it to shadow. We could say shadow is just the belief, and it's a belief of non-examination. It's a belief that there's some part of me, some part of my experience that is, I just don't want to look at. I can't look at it. It's too much. It's too scary. It's too anything. But if we look closely enough, we will find exactly what you and I are talking about. You will find love there sooner or later. If you look closely enough, you're going to go through some stuff to do that. But ultimately, you'll never really find darkness, in a sense. And in the way we're talking, the shadow is just unexamined. That's all it is. It's always surprising. It's a mystery. It's not what you think it is. And I would compel anyone who's listening to this to continue to look. Just look with an open heart, look with curiosity, and you'll be surprised what you find there sooner or later.
yeah, for everyone that goes and looks, the bridge that they're going to cross, right? Or if it's a long stairway up or a long stairway down, or it's an escalator or elevator, that's going to be individual. It's going to be unique to the individual that's going to go and look and see. But the quality of that experience is the same. The fabric of that darkness, that void, is the same. And in order to realize that, one has to go and look and find out, because everyone here who's listening to this, I can say it's infinite love and bliss in ways that we can't even imagine. But that doesn't mean anything to anyone that's listening. It's an invitation to go and find out for yourself. Go and experience what that actually is. And the thing to cross will come up for you when you start to approach it, if there's anything to cross at all.
Mm.
But like Angelo said, we invite anyone who wishes to go and look, see, and find out. I had no inclination about these things, no expectations of what it was going to be like. I just wanted to find out. There was a desire to know, and we can ask. We can say, hey, I want to know. Show me how to go and see. Give me a sign that I can't deny. And you might just get what you're asking for.
Mm.
That's how it was for me. So I can only speak on my experience, but I had that desire to just know what that is completely, through and through. And now there's just everything goes back to its place. All the senses has their positions. This idea of self, identity, and ego, it's an aspect of experience. It's not the totality of experience. And it goes back to its place because it has its function. And in the face of this, all it ever does is surrender to this love, because its composition is that love itself. It's nothing other than that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's that's key. It's like we don't realize that when we turn and look into the shadow and we start to investigate shadow spaces, we start to investigate things we've cut ourselves off from, let's say, just through habit and so forth. We don't realize that, first of all, what we're going to find will be this kind of love, acceptance, equanimity, magic. But we also don't realize what's looking for it is also that. Like that which turns to the shadow is also love. Like whether we feel it or not, it's also that. So it's just kind of like reality becoming reacquainted with itself in a very mysterious way, but also a very ultimately natural and really complete way.
right? Yet there is the like this concept of lack isn't there at all in this. There is this complete and utter trust into all of this. There is no doubt. When this rests, it removes, I mean, all doubt is gone. And then there's just that love in this eternal love, this eternal perfection, this thing that's, I mean, eternal would means that it came into and it can't go out of, but this has always been. There was never not a point where there was access. It has always been so. It is perfection. And all of these are concepts, but they're the closest thing that I have to describe what, if one can imagine what perfection would be like, that would get you the closest to it. But that would be universe apart. And when this is experienced and you go and it's seen, man, boundaries dissolve, distance dissolve. The the ego that we fought so hard against is completely loved because it got you there too. And then it's the fabric of that is it as well. So it's almost you are fighting and fighting and fighting to see something that you forgot
Mm.
because it's always been here.
Mhm.
But no one can make you remember it. You have to see it. And then you're like, oh. And that's how it's been. Dude, it's been like that. Tears. There's just this thing is just I mean, everywhere I go, I look, it's seen. My kids now, my wife, the refrigerator. I mean, looking at the camera right now, everything here and around is just this. It's imbued with it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm inclined also to say to anyone listening that this journey of investigating the shadow, this journey of trusting in the love that you know is there, the equanimity, the peace, the release that you know is there even when you don't feel it, all of that is very important, and you don't have to do it alone. Like, I really try to encourage people to have their own sort of spiritual autonomy and not depend, or I shouldn't say not depend, I should say not expect somebody else to do the work for them, not expect the teacher to be the enlightened one for them. But at the same time, when you're, as they say, when you're ready, the teacher will appear, and teachers come in all kinds of forms. Dead gurus, they come in forms of books, they come in forms of circling experiences. So be open to your allies, because that is also love. The love is all around you, but you may find some relational situation that is the key to this whole thing for you. So think outside the box, be open-hearted, be open-minded, and discerning, of course, but know that you also don't have to do this alone. And yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. When people start out on this, they almost isolate off. And while you have to do the work, you have to do the work. And like you said, you don't have to walk the path alone. There are many people that's on the way here. And listen, the stuff that happened in Denver, this is completely in mind sitting, and it's the same way here. There is nothing else involved outside of just this curiosity. And in Denver, it was Neem Karoli Baba that came, and I knew nothing of who he was or anything about him, period. I didn't even know he was a guru or what that even meant. What that love, when that touched, I was like, what is that? And this was just completely open to whatever was going to come, you know, going through all of this and being on this journey itself. The curiosity component, I feel, is what made this accelerate in the time frame that it did, because I didn't really have an expectation. So I wasn't going to look for anything. I was open to whatever came, and whatever came, it didn't matter how off it seemed, in ways of experiences and teachers. Within us, there is a level of discernment that develops naturally, that we know if it's something that's being done or someone's taking advantage. To some degree, you'll know. Your spidey senses will go off and you'll be like, maybe not. But when these spaces are touched, I mean, it's so intimate and so deep within ourselves. It's a recognition of what already is, what's always here, what's fully accessible. And that curiosity, we talk about that stuff all of the time. It removes these subtle expectations, because you can't be curious with expectations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, say that again.
So
that's good.
Yeah. And when you go in like that, man, it's almost like the entire thing just opens up to you. And it's
you can't be curious.
It leaves
with expectations. You can't be curious with expectations. I'm saying say that again because that's really going to land for some people, I think.
Yeah, you just, it doesn't work that way. That's a direct contradiction. You cannot be curious with expectations. That's not what curiosity is. No outcome in mind. And it's the curious aspect to that is that's what the unknown is. And the only way you can approach the unknown is to be curious to see what it is. And anything you could make up about that is mind generating something about something it has no clue about. And if you can recognize that, you won't get caught up in that aspect of it, and you can move into the unknown, ready to accept what comes up. And usually the first thing that comes is some level of fear, because there's no comfort there, no stories that you're going to tell yourself that's going to create some level of comfort as to why to go or why to not go. The only stories that you'll make up are the ones for you not to go and see. And the minute you believe those stories, well, you close the door. And once the door is closed, it's up to you to open it. And that's the curiosity and surrender to that.
The story.
And it's really surrender to your curiosity.
Yeah, surrender to your curiosity. You said the only story that's made up is the one that says, don't go and see. Yeah. Something like that. It's a good way of putting it.
When the fear comes up, right? Fear is the explanation of the unknown that we believe. Hey, I'm going to die if I go on the other side. And there's that fear of, well, I'm not going to go. I'm either going to go look or I'm not going to go look. And if you're afraid, you're accepting the fear and you never go and look. Right? Yeah. If the fear is there and you recognize the story, but you still want to go, you are putting the mind to the side and you're leading with experience, because you want to experience what's on the other side, because that's the only way you can know. No way else can you know what's there. You have to go and look and see. And really and truly, any experience that we have, the only way we know it is if we experience it.
Yeah.
And that's not to say, obviously there are dangerous situations, and this is disclaimer, you're not going to go and walk in front of a bus.
Yeah.
You know you're going to get hit by a bus. Some stuff is going to happen.
Yeah.
You don't have to get hit by a bus to know that. But in this way, when we're exploring our own selves and the depths of what we're calling us, those are the things that'll come up. And in that space, that's where courage, curiosity, and surrender comes into play. And when you hit that point with the unknown, I encourage everyone to go and look, because it's never, ever what you think is on the other side of it. And we say it all the time. We're saying it right now. It's infinite love and bliss.
Leading by experience, leading through experience, and leading through expectation in the mind, because the mind will turn you around every time. Because you're going to get to the limit of what the mind can do, what it can know, what it can experience. and it kind of says, oh, well, we have to turn around here. And it won't even really always know it's turning around. It just redirects itself and you won't realize it. But if you lead by experience, if you lead from the point of view of experience itself, you will feel a mind barrier often, but that's just the mind going, I don't know what's beyond this, and that's okay. It doesn't need to. And then you can actually stay in the experience, and the experience is sort of the carrier wave that will take you beyond your boundaries, beyond your limitations, beyond your expectations. And that's really where fruition is, pretty much at all levels of realization is. So I love how you said that you have to lead by experience. You have to lead through experience, or let experience lead the way.
Yeah. Again, mind doesn't know what's there. Mind can't create a comfortable story about the unknown. It's what gets afraid. The way that I kind of approached it with that was the mind itself. I just kind of like treat it like a little kid, a child version of me. It's coming into something that's completely unknown to it, and its first defense mechanism is fear. And here I am trying to discover something or find something. Instead of, chucking it in the back seat, I invite it to come with me while I hold its hand. And I do that intentionally. I say, all right, you don't know and I don't know. So you're going to create a story of fear. That's cool. But let me hold your hand and take you, because I'm afraid too. So, but we can go and find out together.
Mm-hmm.
And leading the mind into that space is really what, I don't know, man, it just opens up everything.
Yeah.
It's leaving nothing behind. And the thing that's creating the division point, you can lead it with you. And then you see that it was never a thing to begin with.
You're describing really well the experience of confronting a fear barrier, and how to move through that. And that is, you won't know where you're going. Like in the conventional way, your mind won't know, and that's okay. So it's like, well, what do I do next? It's like, that's all mind. It's just stay in the experience, and the experience will take you. You don't have to do anything. You don't even have to really choose to go on. The experience will lead you if you stay with it. The physical experience of it, the sensorial experience, it will take you to the next step, the next step, the next step. It really is like a train rail that just keeps going on and on and on. Stay on the rail. Your mind's going to go, I don't know what to do. How do I figure this out? I don't know. I'm scared, psychological fear. And being able to discern the difference between psychological fear, like I'm scared, I don't know what to do. This could kill me. This could make me crazy. And physical, what we could call physical fear is a sensation. It can be an intense one, but it doesn't usually stick around long. And stay with the sensations, stay with the felt experience, and just let it take you. And this is not hard. This whole thing is not hard. It's not far. Reality is not far away. In fact, it's obviously right here. But to move through the barrier of identity is actually not that difficult if you stay in the experience. So I just wanted to really hammer that because, I like the way you said it.
Yeah, I think that's the importance of shadow work, because it knows what to pull from. So if there is anything unresolved or unwilling to face, when you come up to that barrier, that's what it latches onto. It's going to latch on to anything that you're going to listen to. So if you really give it nothing to listen to, then the only path is forward.
Yeah.
So for me, that's how it was. And I can't stress like shadow work enough, dude. Like,
yeah,
that's to me, that's 99% of the battle. It just, because it's you're facing all your ideas, all these structures that are hidden within other structures, and facing them is the fastest way to allow them to go. They never really wanted to do anything. They always wanted out. We kind of like stuff them down, lock the barrel, and then throw the key away, and then throw the barrel away. Now you gotta go find the barrel. You gotta go find the key. You gotta unlock them, and you want the freedom, right? So there's all these tasks that we put, but it's something that we do unknowingly, I think, and then we come to these realization as we're clearing out all this crud within ourselves. The more comes up, and then we wipe those away. It's almost like polishing a mirror. You know what I mean? It's like, first you really can't even see the mirror is there. And then as you're wiping away more and more crud, you're using a clean towel, wiping some more away. Eventually you get to the mirror,
Mm.
then you start to see the reflection. And at that point, when you start to see, then you're like, oh, I wonder what's beyond this.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
You just dive into the mirror, or you shatter the mirror, just be done with it all.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that you're emphasizing shadow. You said 99% of this is about the shadow, because there are teachers, people out there who will talk about infinite love and bliss, but they haven't done the shadow work, or they don't even know shadow material. And that can be really confusing for spiritual practitioners. And maybe it's probably more common than not in the wider spiritual community that people talk in those terms, but don't actually understand the shadow side of things. So I really like that you're putting both of those together. And I just want to emphasize that, to me, they're not two things at all. Like I don't actually experience emptiness and love as two things. I don't experience shadow and light as two things anymore. They're not. None of that is like that. It's like the pathless path to your liberation is literally right here every second. Like it's not hidden. It's not hard to find. This is why when I do Q&As with people, I know exactly where to go. I know the next step. I'm just kind of calibrating like, how much can you handle right now? Like how much fear are you ready to confront in this moment? How much shadow are you willing to turn toward in this moment? Because it's right here for you. Like it's not complicated. When you stop making these massive distinctions between bliss, eternity, love, and shadow, and the unexamined, and the mystery, and going beyond the mind, all of that is actually the same, ultimately. And I think it's really good that we're having this conversation in this way.
Yeah, you hit it right on the head. The fabric of it is that, right? This love that interpenetrates and interconnect every single thing. And it was our belief in the idea that there is something dark within me that I must fight against, that isn't me, that I need to get rid of. And I think you had posted a video with the demon running towards a person, and they reached out and just kind of hugged it, and it came back down to something completely different. And that's exactly what it is. That side of us is us. It's to be accepted. Whatever, it doesn't matter how dark it is or how it's perceived to be a devil or a demon, right? It's our courage to accept it, bring it into that love, and then it gets transformed by showing us it's the love itself. And the error was our perception of what was happening, which is how it goes with reality too. It's a unbinding of this perception of all of these myriad of things as being something, as though it has an identity structure to it. And then when all of that is tossed up and given up and seen, the fabric of the permeation, even of the perceptions themselves, is that love. And it almost like you look at it backwards, and then you start to say, oh, that's what it was. That's what it was. That's what it was. That's what it was. And then you start to laugh, and you want to smack yourself upside the head, because it was the entire reality always nudging you, pointing you. Look here, I'm here. Look there, I'm there. I'm everywhere. And that's all it was ever doing.
Yeah.
To kind of get you to resolve this point of division in all the ways that we make up what that point of division is. Even we make it up as something that we don't want, but even not wanting it is leading you to it as well.
Yeah. 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 If you feel like you don't want something, why don't you just dive into that not wanting so fully that your mind stops? Find out what's actually there. And everything will liberate you when you really, really dive into it and find out what's there with an open heart, with willing to set your mind aside, and the analytical safety net of the mind. Just dive in, find out what's really there, including not wanting. Ultimately, it's not wanting. That's what you really have to look at. Do you really not want? Are you sure about that? What's really there? Yeah.
Go look and see and find out. Now it's like, turn to love, and everything else will. Once this is like, you've gone, you've seen, it's experienced, and it permeates everything. That's it. There's love, surrender to that love. Again, the identity and ego, those things function in this illusory world that we create and call day-to-day life. There's a place for it. The how can I put this? The mental fabrication of our interpretation of reality that we have within our minds, that we operate within, still functions and operates. But it doesn't have the hold that it did before. Once this is experienced and this love kind of permeate and penetrate, it even penetrates that, because it's no other than that. This mental escape is a reflection of that pure love. So there is no difference. The suffering of it and the perfection of it are one and the same, that interpenetrates. Samsara and nirvana, it's one and the same.
Mm-hmm. That is the deportment of the bodhisattva to me. That's the path of the bodhisattva, or the signature of the bodhisattva energy. I don't necessarily talk about a bodhisattva as a person, although it certainly can be. It can also be an archetype. It can be a movement. It can come forth any way it needs to come forth to release a suffering being from suffering. It can come forth as Karoli Baba. It can come forth as a book that I read when I was 24 years old. It can come forth in so many ways, but the signature of the bodhisattva is really living the truth that nirvana and samsara are one and the same.
Yeah. And when it occurs and it manifests in that way, there is no, it's not like there's another way to be, or the only other way to have been would have been the one that I could have come up with within my mind. But these two things now interpenetrate each other, and that's not even a thing to be how it was before. It isn't an error that's being made. That now, not that you're making the error, but once it's seen, you see it through and through, and it sees through you. So, and this is where I think language can get a little tricky to try to describe this, because you're literally going against every single thing that you could think and conceive of, which for the most part is how we engage in this world, so fully identified in here that this is overlooked. But this is also pointing to it.
Mm-hmm.
It always is.
Yeah.
It's always reflecting back.
Yeah. I like that. You said that. In a sense, you have to at least be willing to confront every sort of thing your mind comes up with, especially at first. And I think that's really critical for that first shift, is to really start questioning your thoughts about you, like really in moment to moment, seeing that the tendency to grab a thought and identify with it is just not necessary. And then you're not going to know what's beyond that, but you'll find out if you stay with it long enough. But at some point, it's not so much. It's not so daunting in that we don't have to constantly fight the mind or anything. It actually becomes much more about experience, like as we were talking about earlier. It becomes much more about following your instinctual reorientation to what's the most real in this moment. What's the most real in this moment? What's the most real in this moment? What's the most real in this moment? Sooner or later, you'll realize what is the most real is going to be exactly what we're talking about. It's going to be this kind of vibrating aliveness that is ineffable, but also literally everything in our experience. Call it love. Call it shunyata, call it neither, but it's here. And that is the most real. That is the most real. And it's literally just, everything is drenched with it. It's so beautiful. Everything and nothing.
Yeah. It's the only reality that is, and has ever been. And all those words are, shunyata and love, infinite bliss. It's all pointing to the possibility that any and everyone has access to it and can access it.
Mm-hmm.
And once it's accessed, then those words would be what we can agree upon, would be trying to describe poorly,
Mm-hmm.
very poorly, what the full expression of that is. And it's a felt, lived, continuing experience. It's not something that's over and done with. We may get glimpses of it, but this is the reality itself.
Yeah, and I might even go so far as to say even the fact that we're talking about it is really unnecessary aside from the the felt sense I have that the expression of it at all is really only here to liberate. It's only here to liberate. That's the beauty. It's endlessly liberating. It's self-liberating. Like just like all
Mhm.
appearances are self-liberating, but this is self-liberating in releasing you from the illusion of self, releasing you from the illusion of I have to suffer, releasing you from the illusion that things could be other than they are, need to be other than they are, that there is any shadow that's not also light. Like it's just endless release and endless liberation. So the only point of even talking about this is liberation ultimately. Because otherwise you can live it without
Yeah.
opening your mouth and it's not a bad deal.
Yeah, it's dude. N- Not a bad deal is an understatement, dude. Like, whoo. And that's the entire thing, right? Like when you see it and it's experienced, the way of being prior to this, it was so unnecessary just because this simple thing wasn't recognized,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
right? Simple, but we we have it covered with so much of our all of our stuff, and it only ever wanted to actually it's always expressing, it's only ever obscured. I think, those words make like perfect sense. The obscuration of the perfection that's always here, wiping away at the mirror to see what's actually being reflected in the mind, and then shattering the mirror
Mm.
and all of it, and just be done with all of it all at
Yeah.
once it's seen. So, there's so many different ways to come at it. I think that's what's pretty cool about it. For me, it came from all avenues. Any which way my mind would want it to latch onto something, it came to that direction and then obliterated that aspect of holding. So, and this is complete surrender to all it is. That's it.
Awesome, man. And speaking of liberation, you mentioned to me that you've opened up a little more time to work with people who might want to work with you one-on-one. Is it right?
Yes. So I've when this touched in, it was like, all right, let's get this out, and we're coming into slow season with work anyway. So I've opened up 2 days, I think, for one-on-one sessions, um Mondays and Tuesdays. And then if I may open up some additional slots, but they whatever I had opened up like filled up so quickly. So I'll maybe open up some more in November and December. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, this one's out, and whoever wants in, let's go.
Let's do it. All right. It's been great chatting with you. We kept it shortish and sweet, but there was so much packed into that. Talking at this level, for me, it's not a level, but just talking at this depth with someone, I almost have to r- keep engaging my mind to not just be gone. Like it's so easy to just not fucking be here right now, and just meld into everything. And that, um, yeah, it's fascinating. And I can feel the transmission so powerfully. I know people are gonna get a lot out of this, and I would encourage anyone watching this, like, do a one-on-one with Eshwar just once if you get the opportunity. Even if you have to wait a little bit, it's going to be worthwhile. But I will put all your links under this video, and then we should have another conversation in the future as well, and just touch in periodically.
Yeah, I think that'd be awesome. It's just, dude, it's full on everything everywhere, and yeah, it takes some time to kind of like fall back and just kind of like breathe for a second. But it's
Beautiful. If you want
it's
to say
intense.
anything last thing you want to say to anybody watching this?
I love you.
Right on. Love it. All right, my friend.